I should have realized something was wrong when my mother started talking about the pool like it had always been inevitable. She stood in the backyard with a coffee cup in one hand, while contractors marked the grass with orange paint. "Dana's boys are finally old enough to enjoy it," she said. "Your father wanted to do something special before summer." I remember staring at the measurements cut into the lawn, trying to calculate silently what something like that cost. Then I remembered the cello. Lily's cello had been stored in their climate-controlled den for 3 months while we moved apartments after my divorce. My mother had insisted on it. "It'll be safer here than in storage," she'd said. At the time, it sounded generous. Now the walls inside me began connecting things before I wanted them connected. "Where's Lily's cello?" I asked. My father looked up too slowly from his phone. "At the house," he said. "Which house?" A pause. My mother set her coffee down carefully. "Rebecca, don't start." That was when I knew. Not because they confessed, because they used the tone reserved for moments when they'd already decided I was overreacting. I walked past them into the den. The corner beside the bookshelf was empty. Even the indentation from the cello stand was gone. When I came back outside, my father was already defensive. "It was just sitting there. It was Lily's. She's 11. She played it every day." My mother crossed her arms tightly. "And now Dana's children will have something too." Families help each other. That sentence settled over everything quietly and horribly. Families help each other. As though Lily wasn't family. I drove home numb enough that I almost missed our exit. Lily was at the kitchen table doing homework when I walked in. She looked up immediately. "Did you bring it back?" I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Children recognize certain truths before adults say them aloud. I watched her face change slowly, not dramatic, not tearful, just careful. "Did they know Grandma gave it to me?" she asked. I sat across from her because suddenly standing felt dishonest. "Yes." Lily nodded once. Then she looked back down at her math worksheet and erased something that didn't need erasing. That hurt more than if she'd screamed. The cello had belonged to my grandmother Ruth before Lily. A dark amber instrument with tiny scratches near the chin rest and one repaired crack along the lower side. Ruth started teaching Lily on it when she was 7 because, according to her, some children touch instruments like they're apologizing. She doesn't. After my grandfather died, Ruth stopped performing publicly. But she kept the cello insured, maintained, documented. I never thought much about that part. Until I called her. She listened without interrupting while I explained everything. The sale, the pool, the money. For several seconds afterward, all I heard was the faint hum of her oxygen machine. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. Not happily. More like someone finally seeing the last piece of a puzzle they'd resisted solving. "Oh," she said softly. "So they actually sold it." I rubbed my forehead. "Grandma, I'm so sorry." "For what?" "I should have moved it sooner." "No," she said. "You should have expected adults to behave like adults." There was movement on her end of the line. A drawer opening. Then the cello was never legally mine to give away casually. I frowned. "What does that mean?" "It belonged to your grandfather's collection trust. I was caretaker. Then Lily became beneficiary when she began studying seriously." My stomach tightened. "You documented that?" "Of course." Her voice remained calm enough to frighten me. "The instrument is insured under the foundation agreement. Selling it without authorization becomes a rather expensive problem." The silence after that felt enormous. 2 days later, my parents sat across from an attorney in Ruth's assisted living apartment. Not a family friend, not a bluff, an actual collections attorney with a folder full of paperwork and an insurance representative on speakerphone. I watched my father's confidence disappear by degrees. First irritation, then disbelief, then the slow realization that professional consequences do not soften themselves for family dynamics. My mother kept repeating variations of the same sentence. "We didn't know." The attorney nodded politely each time. "I understand," he said. "Unfortunately, ownership law remains fairly consistent regardless." The pool construction stopped the following week. Not dramatically, no public scene. The workers simply didn't return. Dana called me crying one night. not because she'd lost the pool, but because she finally understood where the money had come from. She kept saying she thought Mom and Dad had savings. I believed her. That was the saddest part of our family. None of us were fully lying. We were just surviving inside different versions of reality. Months later, the cello was recovered from a private buyer in Denver after the insurance claim escalated. The process cost everyone more money than honesty would have. Lily barely spoke when it came home. She opened the case carefully, checked the bridge, tightened the bow hair slightly. Then she started playing. Not beautifully at first. Her hands shook during the opening measures. I stood in the hallway listening, waiting for frustration, tears, something. Instead, she stopped midway through the piece, inhaled quietly, and began again from the top. No apology. No looking around to see who approved. Just the decision to continue. And for the first time in my life, I realized how much strength can sound like when nobody interrupts it.